Let's take a look at this smartwatch that was sold on Temu for about $4. Actually, it was only $3.78. There are USB cables that cost more than this. At first I was thinking that this is just a regular watch, it's not a smartwatch, because Temu sells regular digital rechargeable watches that look like smartwatches, but they're just plain watches, and even those cost more than this. Does this $4 smartwatch really work? I honestly don't need a smartwatch to measure my health or my exercise routine or guide me through a map. I really just need it to give me my notifications and have a long battery life. The specifications on the back says it's a 240 by 240 TFT screen. Has some of these meaningless information like the master chip. Nobody knows what that is. The battery is 150 milliamp hours. And it takes about 2 hours to charge. Now let's see what's inside the box. I didn't see a charger in the picture from Temu. So we have this main watch module. Looks like there's an LED or a sensor of some kind on the back. And there's a USB-A male plug on the top where the band goes over. Here are the two bands, and there's nothing else in the box. No charger, nothing. There's an instruction manual inside. It looks like it's one of these tiny ones you need a magnifying glass to look at. There's also a quick start guide that's a little bit easier to read. It's telling me how to charge the phone and how to assemble the watch band. Here's the user's manual, and I can't even see anything it says. I'm going to have to take a picture and zoom in on the computer. Okay, let's put this watch together. First, we're just going to put the top band on over the USB-A male plug. Then stick the bottom one over the tab here. This plastic feels extremely cheap. It's like something out of a gumball machine, and it's very stiff. It's not even possible to lay the watch flat. And because this is only held on by friction, I'm sure over time it'll become loose and the watch might just fall off your wrist. And then you'll be out. $3.77. To charge the phone, the charging port is underneath the top strap, so you'll have to pull this thing apart and plug it into a USB-A port like this. I understand this is a $4 watch, but the screen is very pixelated and low resolution. There's also no settings at all for how bright you want the screen to be or how long you want the backlight to stay on. There's really no settings for the screen functionality or for the vibration strength. The user interface of this watch consists of single taps and long presses. On the watch face screen, if you long press it, it cycles between this nighttime looking watch face and your default watch face. Tapping through the watch face, you will see all the menu items available. As you can imagine, this is a bit cumbersome to use, as this music tool, you'll have to tap to cycle through the buttons and long press to select that button highlighted. It's probably easier just to take out your phone and control your music that way. The other tools on this watch is located under the More section, and here you can choose your sleeping app, the weather, the camera shutter function, the find your phone function, and the watch reset function. There's also the QR code to download the default app for this watch and the firmware information. Now let's install the app that the phone manufacturer recommends, and they give a QR code on the instruction manual on where to download the app. Scanning the QR code brings me to this screen. It has the App Store links and a direct link from a server. I'm going to download it from the Google Store just to be on the safe side. And that brings me to Fit Pro from Shenzhen Intelligent Technology Company. But the problem is, this app has a bug where it constantly resets your launcher settings, so when you go home it keeps asking you to choose your default launcher. No matter if you choose a different launcher or your custom launcher, it never gets set. There's no way around it no matter what you do, so we're not going to be able to use this launcher as it makes the phone unusable. And as you can see, once I uninstall the app, the phone will function as normal and it remembers the home launcher settings once it's finally uninstalled completely. So because the app keeps resetting your home screen, we have to try these other apps from the same company, Shenzhen Juahuang. Based on the recommendations of another YouTuber, they say that any of these other apps from this same developer will work with this watch. So first let's try iWatch Pro. It's installed, but we still have the home launcher issue where it keeps getting reset. So that one doesn't work. Let's move on to the next one. We do an uninstall and try the iWatch Plus. After iWatch Plus is installed, you press home and you see it has the same issue. It's still asking to set the launcher no matter how many times you hit always. So we're going to uninstall this and try the next one, which will be the basic iWatch. Okay, we have this installed. And a good sign is that it's not resetting the launcher setting. So let's get back and see if the settings and how it can work with our watch. Let me find my way back to the App Store, launch the app. The problem now I'm having with this app is that it cannot find my phone. It doesn't show up on the list, and the list seems to be a list of paired Bluetooth devices. So let me try to pair it through the Bluetooth setting and see if it will find it. Okay, it sees the Watch 716, that's the $4 watch. We're going to wait for it to finish pairing, and it shows up as a connected device. So it should be on the Bluetooth list of connected devices. Now we're going to give it all the permissions, so there's nothing holding it back. But no, still does not show up on the list. No matter if I'm searching for a new device through the app or listing existing devices. I'm going to go uninstall this one and try the next one. And that's going to be Super Band. We're going to wait for it to finish installing. Now let's test the home key function. It doesn't seem like it resets the home launcher, so that's good news. Let's get on with the app and see if it will connect to the watch. Looks like this time it finds the watch, 716, that's the one. We'll see it go through its connecting procedures. Everything seems to check out. Now it goes through and syncs with the watch. And so far so good. Looks like we'll be having to use Super Band as the app. So let's take a look at this app, Super Band. It has all the basic functions, step counters, keeps track of all your fitness settings, but I'm primarily using this as a message notification, call notification device, so I get a buzz on my hand. Set up your preferences in the profile settings. You set your avatar and your measurement units to your preference. There's a whole bunch of fitness goal settings that you can place on there. Some other miscellaneous settings such as the raise to wake setting, do not disturb, some alarms, a sedentary reminder. There's the Bluetooth call setting, but I think that's for other watches that support this app because there's no speaker or microphone on this $4 watch. To set up which notifications you get, you go into the message push function. Here we get a list of all the possible apps that can send notifications, and it's their preset list. It's not all the apps that are installed on your phone. So if you're using a messaging app that's not on this list, then you're just out of luck. For me, I only need phone call, SMS messaging, WeChat, and Facebook. It says Facebook, but my Facebook Messenger apps come through. One thing to note is that the phone call notifications does not work on this app. So if you need notifications of phone calls, you're out of luck. Incoming notifications will flash on your watch, but if you miss it, you'll have to navigate to messages to look at your past notifications. It shows who sent it what the message was and from which platform it was sent from. It's actually pretty useful, and then you tap it to cycle through it. Here you can see me cycling through my past messages from different platforms. You can only move forward, so if you miss your message, you'll have to keep tapping it and cycle through it. To exit this screen, you have to long press and it'll go back to the menu selections. But the thing is, if you primarily use this watch as a notification tool, it's very cumbersome to use because it seems like it's primarily aimed at sports and activity tracking, which is not good at because the sensors don't really work. To view your messages, you'll have to keep cycling through it, and it's kind of hard to use on a regular basis. So let me show you what I mean when I say the sensors are useless. The app does have a health section where it uses its supposedly built-in sensors to measure your heart rate, your sleep pattern, how many miles you've walked. A dead giveaway that these don't even work is the heartbeat monitor. It says I'm beating at 80 beats per minute and the watch is not even on my wrist. I can run the app's testing and it'll show that it's testing my heartbeat even though it's not on my wrist. I wish these watchmakers would just give up on this function since it doesn't obviously work, so why bother putting it in? For the watch faces, the default one that came from the factory is the most useful one, and that is because it's the only one that can let you see a 12-hour time format as it designates the PM. You also have your step counter, the battery percentage, and the connection status icon. The other watch face it comes with is this nighttime looking digital face, but there's no way to set a 12-hour time display, so you're stuck with military time. It still has the step counter, the battery percentage, and the connection, but I prefer this other one better because it has a 12-hour display. But if you want to change to a different watch face, the app does give you some choices. You go into the app, go into the Set tab, and then go into the dial settings. And here you see a list of available watch faces that they have ready for you from the app. Give it a few seconds for it to populate the screen and update all the watch faces. So let's pick a watch face and go through the procedure. We're going to pick this one with the desert scenery. You can also choose where you want the time text display to show up, which corner of the screen. Make your selection and hit synchronize dial, and you can see that it will update the watch with this new face. Give it a few seconds. It takes about a minute or so. I fast forwarded it. And once it's done, you can see the watch face has been updated. Now here's like a little bit of a hidden feature that is not really obvious. You can change the dial and choose something from your own phone's collection of pictures. Now I'll update the watch face with something from my own photo collection. Let's pick out this picture here, and you can crop and zoom in and choose which section of the photo you want to use. Once you're ready, hit the synchronized dial again and wait for it to update your watch. Give it a minute or so and now your watch is updated. The watch does have a lift your wrist to wake function. It's called a wrist sense. Is under the brightness control in the app. But from my experience with this watch, it doesn't work very well. Let me turn it on and show you how it works. First thing you notice is that there's a setting for when you want this function to be active, and it's only configurable by the hour. So no matter what, there will always be a 1 hour gap in your day where if you were to use this function, the watch won't sense your wrist movement. But let's see how it works, and you can see it turns on by itself at random times. I can hold it steady or try to shake it. It's very inconsistent. So since it doesn't really work well, I'm just going to turn this off for the sake of battery life. To use the remote shutter to trigger your camera, it's under the Set tab and My Device. Go to the remote shutter and you can use your watch to trigger the camera. One thing I noticed is that it triggers their built-in camera app. It's not your default camera app. Here's a sample of the picture I just took with the shutter app. Now if you want to use the phone to find your watch, use the find function under My Device. It will trigger the vibrate function on the watch if it's within range so you can find it easier. To find your phone with the watch, go into the More settings, long press on the Looking For. Phone wakes and makes a tone. Now let's see what happens if the phone and watch get separated. Let's say you forgot to wear your watch and you've been out all day. Will it automatically reconnect? If it's been disconnected for a long time, let's say for an hour, there's no more connection. The connection icon is gone. And it doesn't automatically reconnect because it's been such a long time. The app won't reconnect. If you try to search for the watch, it doesn't find anything. So in this situation, you will have to force close the app. And you can't just clear all from the recents menu. You have to actually go into the app from the home screen using app info. You can then do the force close, give it a second or so, and then restart the app. Once it restarts the app, give it a few seconds. It will reconnect to the watch automatically. Then it shows it resyncs the information to the watch from the phone. If you look at the watch now, you can see that the connection icon is visible. So how well did this watch work for $3.78? I think as a notifications tool, it actually works pretty well. I felt all the buzzes on my wrist, and the app list that it can send notifications for was what I personally needed. If you didn't see something that you need, maybe it doesn't work for you. But for less than $4, I think it works pretty well, given all the flaws with the watch faces and the fake sensors. Just ignore those. And if you just use it as a notifications device, it's actually not bad for $4. The battery life will actually last almost a week, but I think something like this is more of a backup, and if it's your first smartwatch, it might make you want for something more advanced.